All right, everybody, get your pre-orders in for Black Myth Wukong because we gotta send a message. And the only thing these people listen to is money. All right. Nah, I'm just kidding. But apparently, Black Myth Wukong got almost strong-armed, extortioned to basically make their game woke. And they said, we're not doing that. So apparently, these companies like Sweet Baby Inc., and if you guys don't know, if you're watching this, you may know because we've talked about it before. But if you don't know what Sweet Baby Inc. is, this is what Google has to say. Sweet, Sweet Baby Inc. is a Canadian video game narrative by a former Ubisoft developer, right? And their goal, the company's mission, is to make games better, improve the games by making fun and meaningful and inclusive promotion of diversity, equity, and inclusion within the games and the narratives. And we've seen this across the board. So apparently, they tried to do this to Black Myth Wukong, and they rejected it. So let's figure out some details here. The game already looked
For the
amazing,
past several
by the way.
months, there's been a lot of reports and a lot of back and forth between gamers and the mainstream media and really big gaming in general. All these massive studios that have been hiring out these consultancy companies to make sure that their games are woke enough. Places like Sweet Baby Inc., who the CEO Kim Belair even was very upfront and said they want to take over the gaming industry. And that if a company is pushing back against including some woke things in the game, then you got to do anything you can to pressure them to hire companies like Sweet Baby Inc. Well, that brings us.
Look, honestly, my opinion on companies like this, so they're like consultant firms where you have to basically to make your games better in the market and perform better. And obviously that leads to the goal is to make as much money as possible. These consultant firms basically have been formed and they get paid a boatload of money to come in and basically say, oh, you have a white male character as the main guy? No, scratch that. Needs to be a female, needs to be a lesbian, a trans person, a gay person, and that's going to improve the game tremendously. Trust us. Just trust us, bro.
To a studio and a game that apparently refused to give in to a lot of the DEI nonsense, and that is Black Myth Wukong. We have a story right here from Niche Gamer. Rumor, Wukong devs reject $7 million extortion from DEI consultants. Now, Black Myth Wukong is a game that I feel like.
So look, these people come in and they create problems to then sell them the solutions, right? They go to Black Myth Wukong and they say, yeah, your game is a male monkey as the main character. There's not enough women. There's no gays or lesbians or trans or LGBTQ. That's an issue. And don't worry. We'll take care of it for you. We'll help you with this. Just pay us $7 million, and we got you.
Like we first saw the first footage years ago, and finally, within the next couple months, I think in August, it's set for release. A lot of people very excited about the game, but there's been some attacks on it. We've seen some people in the media, specifically at IGN, relentlessly coming after this game, say there's a lot of misogyny and bigotry involved at the development company and blah, 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 this type of shit.
Yeah, I actually saw this. IGN translated a message from one of like the owner, like the main devs of Black Myth Wukong. It might have been like the CEO of the company making it. I don't know exactly who the person was, but they translated it completely wrong, and it made absolutely zero sense. It was basically saying some really, like, if you read it and it was like legit, you'd be like, damn, okay, maybe they are a little sexist. But apparently people then translated it legitimately because they were like, no way this guy comes out and says this. And apparently IGN fucked up. They didn't translate it. They translated it completely wrong.
Well, you start to hear things like this, and maybe it starts to make sense because apparently they weren't going to give in to the demands of some of these consultancy companies. Take a look at this tweet. Chinese media. Black Myth Wukong refused to be extorted $7 million by Sweet Baby Inc. Now, I will push back on this a little bit because in the translation, it doesn't specifically say Sweet Baby. I think it just says consultancy companies, but a lot of people are trying to make this.
Yeah, so look here, I mean, it's a beautiful strategy, right? From a business perspective. They basically go to your game, you say something, maybe the CEO of the company has said something a long time ago, you're with your friends, you make a slightly racist joke or slightly homophobic joke, you're messing around, it's guy talk, whatever, and then they throw that on the internet and say, "Look, guys, you're supporting this by buying this game, but don't worry, we're gonna talk to them, and we're gonna fix this. They just have to pay us $7 million. We'll go in and we're gonna make sure this game is not transphobic, not homosexual, and it does have inclusivity."
This connection.
That's why it's extortion.
So let's read through this translation from a Chinese
It's a good business strategy.
media outlet. The reason why the team behind Black Myth Wukong has been subjected to persistent sexist attacks and slander since the first promotional video is because they've consistently refused political correctness guidance and rejected the extortionate guidance fees, millions of dollars demanded by these political correctness teams. Actually, such teams are quite common in Europe and America. They interfere with works like Assassin's Creed, Dying Light 2, and God of War by pushing for political correct female protagonists. These changes are a direct result of the interference and guidance of such teams. Game science teams, so the devs.
But here's what you have to think about, right? If the game was about America in 2024, then yeah, this type of stuff should be in the game because that is the Western world right now. They're pushing this so hard. But what is a game about a monkey fighting monsters set way far in the past in a fantasy world have to do with any of this, right? What does it have to do with any of this Western, ideals and stuff like that? Like, it's not there. It's not part of it.
For Black Myth Wukong refuse to communicate with these groups and reject their interference. Most importantly, they refuse to pay the exorbitant $7 million in guidance fees. So this is the direct reason they're being attacked and slandered. Some justifications are based on the team's lack of diversity or representation, which doesn't align with the political correctness standards. Typical example is an article by a major IGN writer criticizing Hogwarts Legacy and refusing to evaluate or promote it due to its alleged lack of political correctness. So a lot of people started looking into this and they realized that, yes, you've seen a lot of attacks on this game from places like IGN. How Black Myth Wukong.
I really don't think it. I think this is completely made up, by the way. Complicating its journey to the West. Everyone online is literally nonstop talking about how good this game looks. What complications are they having? There are the complications with, LGBTQ like people, like they're not buying the game, but they're not the target audience of the game in the first place. So what's the point? What complications are we having here?
Developers' history
That's my
of
question.
Sexism is complicating its journey to the West. Indie developer Game Science Global Fame is forcing it to confront its own sexism and that of the Chinese tech industry. Now, if you go back and we look at this tweet they sent out all the way in 2023 when this was written, oh, look, community note. The sexist quotes shown in the article are poorly translated.
Oh, this is what I was talking about.
Accurate translations show the statements being vulgar, but definitely not sexist. IGN reported on these fallacious, unverified claims as though their fact is yellow journalism, which CNs were made to combat. And
look, I mean, IGN's been under a bad rep for a while, but I mean, a blatant mistranslation and then making a bold claim like, yeah, this is completely sexist when they translated it wrong. That's not a good look for IGN.
Interestingly enough, one of the things that really made this go viral was an Asmongold video. On Asmongold's Clips channel, his editor decided that he was going to actually provide some context for us
IGN.
Because as he was reading through the article, Asmongold said this is some of the most biggest bullshit we've ever seen. We interviewed women that stayed anonymous but are familiar with the gaming industry that told us how racist and sexist and bigoted they are. It is kind of a lot of bullshit. So Asmongold's editor decided to do a little bit of actual translation.
In my life.
Context. IGN published an article trying to smear the company and the devs behind
Oh,
Black
yeah, this is
Myth
what I was talking
Wukong
about.
as some sexist freaks because of some of their employees' social media posts. The article cites one of their artists who basically did the still wood meme about this monster. The problem is that this game journalist, either by sheer incompetence or malice, translated these posts in the most uncharitable way possible. And this is nothing compared to the most egregious mistranslation after one of the game company founders posted this in 2020.
Yeah, look, this was their translation. I want to expand my circle and hire more people. Get licked until I can't get an erection. What y'all think about that? Does that sound like a real translation? Who in their right mind would ever say that even say that like that?
Apologizing for the lackluster trailer of Black Myth Wukong just released. Now, how on earth do you get?
I want to expand my circle and hire more people. Get licked until I can't get an erection.
In reality, the actual translation completely changes the meaning of what he was saying.
Now, if we stop this and read this a little bit, right?
Yeah, so it says, want to expand the circle and recruit a few more people, but got licked to the point of being unable to get an erection.
Got licked to the point of being unable to get an erection. This is essentially a phrase, right, that when translated directly might not make a lot of sense or might sound like that. But if you're somebody who uses the Chinese language, this is what you actually get. A colloquial expression used humorously or sarcastically to describe a situation where excessive flattery has an overwhelming and paralyzing effect on someone. The use of metaphors can be found in informal speech or on social media. And the entire article was full of stuff like this.
Right,
so it made a lot.
They translated this and they read it and they were like, oh my God, these guys are so sexist. So sexist. When in reality, it's like slang in America.
A lot of people wonder, why exactly are so many people apparently going after Black Myth Wukong? What could the possible reason be? They remembered, like Sweet Baby Inc., essentially telling people that they should threaten to have these consultancy companies come in or they're going to do everything they can to smear you. Do you remember?
Yeah, they're literally basically trying to turn the entire internet against this company because they're not accepting a consultant firm to come in and make the changes to the game, right? And they're charging. It's not like, oh, hey, we're willing to come in for free and do this. That would be a whole nother level. But no, they're not saying that. They're saying we're going to force you to let us change this game. And we're going to fucking charge you $7 million while we're doing it. Yeah, if that's not extortion,
Remember
I don't know
this,
what is.
Word for word, everything is starting to make sense. Context: Black Myth Wukong devs refused to be extorted $7 million by Sweet Baby Inc. or by other consultancy companies. The aftermath of this is the IGN post.
If you're a creative working...
And this is the co-founder of Sweet Baby Inc., Kim Belair.
I haven't seen this.
AAA, which I did for many, many years. Put this stuff up to your higher-ups. And if they don't see the value in what you're asking for when you ask for consultants, when you ask for research, go have a coffee with your marketing team and just terrify them with the possibility of what's going to happen if they don't give you what you want.
And you know what's going to happen if you don't give them what they want? They start leaking stuff. They start saying this. They start saying that. They start trying to do everything they can to force public pressure to have you bring in these DEI consultants. Well, things haven't exactly gone well for them. It's kind of backfired in a big way because after this backlash, we saw Black Myth Wukong spike to number.
Get those numbers up, people. Get your pre-orders in. You know what? Buy multiple copies of the game. Whatever you got to do. We need to keep this game on top. All right.
Number 1 on Steam's wish list right here.
Yes.
There was a lot of people excited about the game already. It's been building a lot of anticipation. But the idea that you have potentially companies like Sweet Baby Inc. or maybe them themselves trying to essentially extort or threaten, say you have to hire us so that your game's diverse and woke enough, it'll just cost you $7 million. Because they rejected that, it almost seems like you have a coordinated effort to attack them from people in the media. This is not the only article. There's like 4 or 5 articles from...
Yeah, because all of like IGN and all of these gaming journalist companies, they all, I swear there's one person running them all because they all say the exact same things, right? And they're literally trying to turn the audience. They're trying to make it seem like, it's like 5 people are over here talking about one thing and there's 1,000 people on the other side. And they're trying to make it seem like, hey, we're saying this and they have the 5 people on the left have megaphones, right? So they're way, way louder. They're trying to make it seem like the entire public perception of this is on their side, when in reality 99% of people are over here, right? And they love the game already, and they don't care about this. They don't want this in it to begin with. So they're trying to make it seem like that's the public perception and turn these people over and like, oh, maybe those guys over there are pretty loud. Maybe they are right. I hear them more than I hear the people around us. You know what I'm saying? So maybe we should be against this. And they're basically using that ammo to basically try to extort this company.
IGN over the past couple months, all repeating similar things. They're all allegations of the sexist nature of these devs, blah, blah, blah. When in reality, when you look at the real translation of things, it's not nearly as nefarious as it seems. A couple of people joking around here and there, like I said, the wood meme, the still wood meme. But this is complete and utter bullshit. They've been under attack by the woke media and by a lot of other people, powerful players apparently in the gaming space, all because they refuse to hire a company like Sweet Baby Inc. Absolute bullshit, but their rejection of these DEI companies probably going to make a lot more people interested in their product.
Yeah, that it completely backfired on this company, on Sweet Baby Inc. So if you guys haven't seen all this crap that's going on with these consultant firms, this is literally their plot, right? It's honestly a beautiful strategy. You know what I'm saying? If you look at the food industry, right? This is the way to get incredibly rich. You create a problem and you sell the solution. And if you look at the food industry back in the 1900s, I forgot exactly when it was, but they basically said fatty foods are bad for you. So what you need to do is actually go buy this processed food that we're making now. Not only they don't tell you, hey, it's actually cheaper for us to make. We make way more profit, stays on shelves longer. No. They don't tell you that. They say, oh, fatty foods are bad. What you've been eating for years and decades, that food, it's actually, yeah, that's not good for you, right? What you need to buy is our so much better processed food because it has more sugar and it has less fat, and fat is not good for you. And now look at you. You go back and look at the chart. Obesity rates in the US have quintupled, dramatically increased year over year since we started moving away from more fatty foods and into more sugary foods. So it's literally the strategy of these huge billion-dollar companies. Create a problem, sell the solution. But let me know what you guys think. Peace.